Hi, Hugh. It's Hugh. 34 years and we still look the same. Although, I did get a little bigger. Now today, I will be talking about your goals in school and what you should and should not do as a student. First of all, Hugh, do you remember that English class that was sort of like an English class, but mostly like a social studies class? Well, this was a great class for us. And I wasn't really good at English, that's why. But I was okay at social studies. But I remember actually kind of getting good grades in this class. And it's a lot different from standard English. It's because the way you're learning is completely different. And you learn more visually through projects and tests. Now, when we were in this class and we made a poem about terrorism, this was really hard for us because it wasn't easy. It was easy, but it was challenging at the same time. Because we had to go back again, there's so many edits and revisions, and it was just really hard for us. But even in physical therapy, you're not going to do anything once and then be done with it. That can't be the final. And do you also remember those stupid annotations that we had to do every single day? Well, it turns out those annotations actually come in handy. Because in physical therapy, you have to do something different every day. You're not going to have the same thing every day like you would in an office job. You're going to be out and about, walking around and everything. And the same thing with these annotations. You have to read and think consciously all the time. Because if you don't, you're not going to have good annotations. And the same thing with physical therapy. Because if you don't consciously do something different every day, then you're not doing your job. And do you also remember that science class that was an engineer class at the same time? Because you got to build things and actually do physical tests with chemicals and freezing stuff and melting stuff and lighting things on fire. Well, that was a really fun class because we got to experience things in a visual way, and we are visual learners. So this class really helped us a lot, and it was really fun for us, and we got to learn everything in a very scientific way. If there was one strength in this class, it was being able to work with my team. Teamwork was a huge part in MPX, and in this class specifically, because this project we had to make a trebuchet. Now, for the trebuchet, you had to build one and launch an ornament across the room and let it land safely into a box. Me and my group decided to pick the most challenging, just hardest thing you could possibly build, and it was really hard for us, but we decided to keep it together, work as a team, and we accomplished a lot in the amount of time we had. A major weakness in this class was that we couldn't write lab write-ups. We could do the labs and everything, but we could never write it up. We just had a bad time just talking about what we saw and our observations, because we're not very descriptive people. Like, we're very vague. If you were to say, like, there's a cat outside or something, then we won't tell you anything about the cat. We'll just tell you that it's a cat. It could be a tiger for all you know. But in physical therapy, you have to be pretty descriptive. You can't talk to a doctor and tell the doctor that the patient's leg is like broken and they need to know how to walk, because depending on where their leg is broken, maybe they won't be able to walk. If they're broken in like their shin, then it's gonna be able to walk, but if they broke it in their hamstring and like upper thigh, then it's gonna take a lot longer to digital art with Miss Carnes. This was a great class for us because we were pretty good at photography and most things creative. So in this class, we could really let our mind free and create whatever we wanted to create. Do you remember making those blue pieces of paper, and what were they called? Cyanotypes. We made cyanotypes in 10th grade, and we were really great at making them because we were so meticulous when how we set it up. We put the light exposed paper and we perfectly placed it on the negative. I remember we would even measure it, like how far it was from the ends of the window frame. And even when it was in the window frame, we smashed it down to make sure it wouldn't move at all. And that gave us a great picture. And you have to be meticulous when you're a physical therapist, when you're my age, because sometimes you won't be able to have a second chance with these patients, and it could be kind of like a life or death situation. Maybe physical therapy is very important, and you want to make sure that you do everything right. That magazine, on the other hand, was a huge pain for me. It was awful to finish because no one in our class knew how to make a magazine, but we were thrown into it and it was a big challenge for us. And what I learned from it is you just have to push through. You can't just stop. You can't just give up. You have to push through, because if you don't, you'll never accomplish anything. And even in physical therapy, you need to push through. If you can't do your job and you can't finish working with someone, then you don't make money and you get fired and you can't keep your job. So this is a huge important skill for us to learn. Now, I hate to talk all about school, so let's talk about something we both love. Basketball. Basketball never was easy for us, but our interest in the game drove us to work very hard, and it developed a great work habit. Now, this work habit translates into our schoolwork, because as a student, you need to have great work habits. I wish I could play basketball with my two boys, Ben and Micah, but sadly they moved to the mainland and I don't see them anymore. Now, Hugh, before I go, stay out of trouble and think before you do things. Alright? Bye. Wow, I'm old.